World rallies in aid for Japan as crisis deepens. Nearly 1 week after the 9.0 magnitude earthquake and tsunami on March 11, the confirmed death toll has reached 3,373, with at least 15,000 more feared to have perished in the harsh conditions. A massive rescue and cleanup effort is underway, and a glimmer of hope was raised with the miraculous rescue of 2 people in separate cases, an elderly woman and man, from beneath the rubble after 4 days. However, freezing temperatures have set in, with snowfall in the affected northern regions, creating potential mudslide risks.
Aid workers have already reported cases of hypothermia and respiratory problems arising from people having inhaled contaminated water during the tsunami, leading to a risk of pneumonia. With some 500,000 people displaced to emergency shelters such as schools, the organisation Save the Children estimates that 1/5 are children, who, along with many elderly, are especially vulnerable. Over 1 million people struggle without clean water, food and electricity as rolling blackouts continue.
Factories in Japan have also been affected, with extensive quake damage causing the nation's largest industry, automobile manufacturing, to be put on hold indefinitely, along with many electronics and steel manufacturing plants. On Tuesday evening, a new earthquake of magnitude 6.4, unrelated to the massive March 11 trembler, jolted Shizuoka Prefecture, just 88 kilometers from Tokyo, where it shook buildings, disrupted rail service and caused power outages, as well as injuries to at least 2 people. Meanwhile, as concerns about increasing radiation levels at the Fukushima Daiichi plant continue to mount, the nuclear crisis has been identified as not only the worst in Japan since the horrific atomic bombing in 1945, but also the most serious to emerge since the 1986 Chernobyl tragedy. Both of these historic events had enormously fatal consequences, as well as long-term harmful effects to human health. Following 3 reactor explosions and a fire in a 4th reactor at the Fukushima plant, Prime Minister Naoto Kan addressed the nation via television, saying that the radiation levels were very high, as he also warned that more radiation could escape.
On Tuesday, the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, said that Japan had reported radioactivity being released directly into the atmosphere through 2 large puncture holes created by a blast occurring before the fire in No. 4 reactor. The IAEA also raised its evaluation of the Fukushima emergency to a level 6, which is higher than the 1979 3 Mile Island partial meltdown in the US. Before and after Tuesday's explosion of the No. 2 reactor, radiation levels at the Fukushima plant increased, with readings 470 times higher than normal 40 kilometers to the south in Iwaki City, though these later dropped. Also that morning, radiation levels of 400 millisieverts an hour had been detected around the No. 4 reactor, a level that could harm human health. The exposure limit for a nuclear industry employee is 20 millisieverts for an entire year. By the afternoon, officials stated that radiation measurements had decreased to levels that did not threaten human health. However, people within 20 kilometers of the plant were advised to leave immediately, and anyone within 30 kilometers was urged to remain indoors. A 30-kilometer no-fly zone around the site was also imposed, and the power company stated that it had considered pouring water in through the blast holes of the No. 4 reactor via helicopter as another avenue to cool it, but later found that this would not be feasible.
In an effort to assist, the US Nuclear Regulatory Commission has sent another 8 nuclear experts to join 2 already in Japan. South Korea and Russia were meanwhile placed on high alert for potential radiation poisoning from Japan, and in Vladivostok of Russia's far east, 800 kilometers northwest of the nuclear plant, slightly higher radiation levels were detected on Tuesday, although they remained within normal limits. On the far eastern Sakhalin Island, home to 500,000 Russians, residents and officials have been bracing for the worst. Residents speaking to RT News Agency journalists said they fear that the Japanese officials may be downplaying the danger, and that a radioactive cloud similar to the Chernobyl disaster could be released, in which case it would reach them in one day with westward wind. On Tuesday, Russia's Prime Minister Vladimir Putin ordered a review of Russia's own future nuclear plans and for officials to check Russian nuclear facilities. Tokyo's municipal government also reported levels twice the normal limit, but still low enough not to pose a health threat. However, fears of a serious radiation leak has prompted many foreign visitors to return home, as the French, German and Swiss embassies advised their citizens to leave the country. In the United States, Californian officials on the nation's west coast have also been closely monitoring the situation.
With the disabled nuclear plants also causing immense energy shortages and periodic blackouts, many Tokyo residents panicked, emptying supermarket shelves to stock up on essential items.
Indeed, experts warn that the psychological trauma that plagues the Japanese people people could be even more harmful than any physical health risks from the plants, as survivors now say they fear potential radiation more than a tsunami.
Japanese Agriculture Minister Michihiko Kano appealed to co-citizens, asking them to stay calm and buy only what is needed, given the limited supplies and lack of food in the devastated areas. In hard-hit Sendai, lines for rationed gasoline were half a mile long, with 8-hour-long waits sometimes ending in futility. Japanese and international rescuers have also been unable to reach many of the 24,000 still stranded in the most shattered regions, as vehicles stand ready with essential supplies but have no fuel to travel. The Japanese government has asked oil wholesalers and industry organisations to aid the humanitarian missions by selling their inventories of gasoline, batteries and flashlights. The government is also sending blankets, water, food and diapers to the most devastated areas.
Currently, about 500 urban search and rescue, medical and relief personnel, along with 30 rescue dogs from across the globe, have arrived in Japan to help. A relief team from Hungary was among the newest to arrive, with dogs and high-technology equipment, while many more teams from other countries are ready on standby. Even countries themselves affected by disasters or political difficulties have offered aid and support, including New Zealand, Afghanistan, Pakistan, 17 Latin American nations including Bolivia, Honduras and Brazil, and African states such as Morocco, Djibouti, South Africa and Tunisia. Moreover, during a Group of 8 Nations meeting on Monday, government ministers joined together in offering full assistance and solidarity for Japan. The World Bank and Save the Children are also among the international organizations pledging support.
While also expressing her heartfelt gratitude for the international aid, Supreme Master Ching Hai had immediately pledged a $20,000 donation, along with her sorrowful prayers, asking our association members to go bring comfort and assistance to the desperately afflicted. Our association's relief teams from Japan and Formosa or Taiwan are joining efforts to deliver aid in the areas most in need.
With thanks to all from around the world, we are also grateful for Supreme Master Ching Hai's unconditional help and love to the Japanese people at this time. We send our sympathies and prayers for their safety, as well as the minimizing of such extreme events through heaven's grace and humanity's kinder ways.
Supreme Master Ching Hai wants to convey this message of gratitude to all governments, organisations and relief workers from every corner of the world. Thank you, all the international and national help that brings care and necessities to afflicted victims. Thank you, all the relief workers, for taking time and forsaking your own comfort, even travelling great distance on unfavourable roads and conditions to bring love and assistance to people in time of need. May heaven bless you abundantly for your generosity and noble sacrifice.